A Fond du Lac County man is facing 10 charges related to the repeated sexual assault of a child. 44-year-old Timothy Thorne was charged with 7 counts of second-degree sexual assault of a child under 16 after officials say the victim told a friend about the assaults. Authorities say the assaults happened between December of 2022 and March of this year. They say Thorne exchanged nearly 4,000 messages with the victim, many of them sexual. When interviewed, Thorne admitted to the assaults and said he was grooming the victim. Officials say he told the victim to delete the messages and lie to police about what he had done. Thorne was in court yesterday. His next court date hasn't been set.